Hi, welcome to the Coffee with Martha podcast. How may I help you?
Welcome to the.
Can I get a number 10 large with a Coke, please?
Did I ever tell you about the time Orlando went through the drive-thru without his car?
Just go inside!
It was the funniest thing ever. And then at one point they asked him where his car was, and he squatted down and pretended like he was grabbing the steering wheel.
Oh my word.
I swear that guy just needs to start a YouTube channel, man.
That's terrific.
Sorry, I need to quit laughing.
No, you don't. This podcast is all about laughter and joy.
And the Joker.
Yeah. Like Mama always said, I was always brought into this world to bring laughter and joy to everyone.
Peace, hope, happiness, goodness.
That line was a little cheesy.
Well, yeah.
In the movie, but
Well, but when you're like, what shall we do with the drunken sailor? Stuff, it's like, that's what you tell your kid, right? All right, we'll cut that out.
Okay, welcome to the Coffee with Martha podcast. This is Jay, and I'm joined here with Austin and Jordan, and we're missing two members, and because they have real things to do instead of just sit here and
At a kitchen
talk
table.
about an incel movie, which is what we are doing today as we begin our discussion on Joker.
Amen. Jordan, why don't you send us off? Or take
Start
us
us
right
up.
out. Start us off.
Yeah.
all right. But I feel like I do this every week, and I just feel like
No, shut up,
best,
then I'll
but-
do it, you idiot.
I mean, I can do it.
No, you
imbecile,
can't.
You moron, idiot. I'll do it.
Just get out of here. All right. Go
All right. Well, so we all saw the Joker, and I think we should give our thoughts on it. As far as I think we should all grade the movie, kind of give it a grade. I personally give it an A. I don't think it's quite at the A+ mark, but it's a great movie. I thought, not to glorify any of the content
Wait,
in the
so you
movie,
said it's
but
an A, but not an A+?
not an A+. Because I mean, if it's an A+, it's going to be a perfect.
No movie should
I-
ever be an A+.
Well, there's a few that could be, but this one had
Perfection?
a few scenes that were problematic, I thought. But for the most part, I think it was well executed, and I really liked the output of the movie and the scenes that were on display for all of us to watch.
All
So, but it was a bit controversial, and that's what we'll be talking about. But just from a technical standpoint, I give the movie an A.
All right, awesome. I give it a C.
I give it an A.
Oh, man.
You really give it a C?
I really give it a C. Would you like to hear why?
Yeah.
I think that it borrows too heavily from its influences.
Oh, don't give me that. Come on.
It's not original enough to be an A.
I
You know
mean-
what? I'll bump it up to a B. I think
Okay,
that it
that
deserves
makes me
it. You
feel
know what?
good.
It's an excellent work of art, craftsmanship. The story's been told before, maybe a little bit better, but I think they did a great job. And I do think that this movie is extremely relevant in today's current world.
So you're giving it
Awesome.
an A+.
No, I'm giving it a B because it's
No,
wasn't
I
as
mean-
good as the other one.
Todd
Right.
Phillips was asked about because the two big
The
movies
other one is
everybody
Taxi
keeps
Driver,
saying,
by the
yeah,
way.
Taxi
It's-
Driver and King of Comedy.
And King
Those
of
are the
Comedy,
two.
yeah, which is like the talk show stuff.
But when asked about it, Todd Phillips said that it was really just they tried to take things from that era, movies from the era, so it wasn't just Taxi Driver or King of Comedy. I mean, granted, it had the similar feels, but I thought it was still its own, and that's I still felt like I was watching a different movie. So I'm completely fine with them taking certain aesthetics from other movies and just kind of adding on to them. I think, if you can make it work, it works out great. And I think it did for this movie.
So maybe we should get into like the whole political side of things when talking about this movie, why it's significant politically. I think that we should probably start to dive into that now because that's probably where the meat of the conversation is going to go.
Wait, it's not gonna go in why you gave it a B.
I already said why I gave it a B.
Yeah, but I thought that I mean I figured that would be our entire conversation.
Well, before we get in,
All right,
man.
stop the recording.
Before we
here.
get into the politics, I thought it would be good to compare it to The Dark Knight from 2008 because that's
Oh, those are completely different characters.
well, that's why I wanted to compare them. So I wanted to get your thoughts on
You wanted
which
to contrast
character
them?
you thought was a better embodiment of what the Joker represents. Because Heath Ledger's Joker was brilliant, and it was. Don't get me wrong, his performance in that movie was fantastic, but it was also super well written, and um, just the idea of the Joker being an agent of chaos and this type of like mastermind was just it worked so well. Whereas Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is like the opposite. He kind of flies by the seat of his pants, a product of his environment and a system that has failed him. So, which Joker do you think has more of an impact, I guess, and which do you personally think is better?
As the Joker himself, the character that we all associate with fighting Batman and everything, I think that Heath Ledger's character is definitely better suited for that role. I also have to agree that Heath Ledger's Joker was a little bit better written. I think that Joaquin Phoenix did an excellent job of elevating the screenwriting above what it really was.
Yeah.
Which it was decent, but I mean, the some of the stuff in The Dark Knight, like when he was telling the story about his scars, and
Hmm.
yeah, there's so many good scenes in that movie.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
I think that the Joker from Joker is actually more like the actual Joker in the comic books and other media that I've ingested.
But he's kind of a loser, though. You know what I mean? He like lives with his
Yeah,
mom and he
that's-
can't get anything done.
That's kind of like the Killing Joke, except he lives with his wife, but they have no money, and he's a loser. I mean, the other thing is that there's so much more comedy.
Was
in
he
this
stupid
movie.
though?
Yes,
Okay.
until he became the Joker, which you could argue that he didn't become the Joker until the very end of the movie, so you don't know.
I agree
How
with
smart
that
he
as well.
actually is.
I think that's what a lot of people are missing because you there's a huge character arc in this Joker film, and by the end he's still there's one scene where you start to see a glimpse of that mastermind starting to come out, and that's when he's able to. Well, they allude to him escaping the insane asylum, whatever he's in, and you start to see his character develop into this sort of mastermind, and I think that's what people kind of have. I don't think people really got that because I heard a lot of people complaining about, oh, this isn't what the Joker's supposed to be, blah blah blah. How's he supposed to fight Batman in the future if this is the type of character he is? But you start to see him develop into the character. And another thing Jay said, the reason I think Joaquin's performance is slightly better than Heath Ledger's is only because the writing and The Dark Knight is far superior to the writing of the Joker, and for Joaquin Phoenix to be able to elevate that writing, as Jay said, I just think it speaks to him as an actor, and that's why I would give him a better performance overall. I mean, Heath Ledger's Joker is more enjoyable to watch on screen. Like this particular Joker movie just left me feeling uncomfortable. Like it was hard to watch at scenes, but again, that speaks to the acting of Joaquin Phoenix.
Here's the thing. I think Joaquin Phoenix's Joker was more in the spirit of the Joker. There wasn't really any comedy. I mean, there wasn't really there was a little bit of comedy in The Dark Knight for with the Joker, like dark comedy where he kills people and it's kind of humorous. But like Heath Ledger's Joker is more the way I would depict the Joker. Like the Joker brutally murders someone, spoiler, and then he like lets this little midget guy go who can't even reach the door, and then he helps
You
the
mean
guy.
Joaquin Phoenix's Joker?
Yeah,
It's
like there's more of a comedic element, and that's like what the Joker is. The reason why the Joker is so good at fighting Batman isn't necessarily how brilliant he is. It's how Batman can't predict him. Batman's whole thing is he's got contingency plans for everything. But he can't do that with the Joker because he doesn't know what the Joker's going to do.
I agree with that, but I think in that particular scene you're talking about, I think it really revealed that the writers are not completely in touch with who the Joker is supposed to be. And the reason I say that is because when the dwarf couldn't reach the latch to unlock the door, the the Joker in the movie didn't start laughing, and that's something the Joker from the comics would have started laughing at.
Yeah, I agree.
And I thought that was a huge missed opportunity because that would have elevated that scene so much more than what it already was. Instead of giving him, I think he gave him like a kiss on the forehead or something, you know. But I mean, I'd agree with your assessment.
That's
Though,
the
for
one
the most
thing
part.
that I did notice in the movie that was missing was he didn't really ever seem to have a point where he changed to where what I was waiting for him to do is start laughing on his own and not out of the mental disorder.
He has kind of a heroic edge to his character. He's not really a horrible person, you know.
Yeah.
You kind of
No.
sympathize with him.
Yes, you do, but he's still pretty horrible.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to imagine how someone would react going through all of that stuff.
No, yeah, that's why you sympathize with him.
But like he didn't kill the dwarf.
Plus one.
th-
Brownie
there's
points.
there's a lot of contrasts at play because like when he finds out that his mom was lying to him when he gets those documents and he's alone in the stairwell and you see him laughing, that this was one of the scenes that like really makes you feel for the guy, I thought, because you see him laughing, you know, because of his disability, but he's crying at the same time, and it's pain. It's causing him pain to laugh, and you see the effects of such a traumatic experience and how they affect a person. But right after that scene, you see him go into his neighbor's apartment, and it alludes to him killing her and her daughter. So they always in the movie they always contrast like you understanding him, you feeling for him with evil that he does, and I feel like that was really good on their part because it doesn't glorify the character of the Joker. It just gives you an understanding of why he is the way he is.
But you do sympathize with him.
You do, but you quickly come back to reality because they're able to show you what he's capable of and the evil he's capable of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know though. I think I still ended up in the entirety of the movie more leaning towards sympathy than thinking he's evil. I think that was the point of the movie.
Really, because throughout the movie, my sympathy started to diminish, and by the end, it was gone.
See, here's the thing. I'm not trying to say that I'm crazy or anything like that. Because I don't think I am.
I think there are certain elements to the character that everybody relates to, and we see ourselves in those elements. And it's much easier to understand why someone would do certain things You know, it's like, well, if I was in that situation, I'd be pretty upset at the world. It'd be hard for me to control myself.
Well, here's the thing. He's the anti-hero. He's the protagonist.
Yeah, he's the protagonist in the movie.
And
That's what's really interesting.
what makes you sympathize with him is they make him sympathetic in some capacities. Like I said, he does horrible things. But then he gets what he desired. And it's like a payoff almost if you are sympathizing with him. You don't want it to be terrible and him to just like destroy everybody in one sense, but in another sense you kind of, in that sympathetic side of you, is feels that when he gets what he wants, which is to be known by everybody and to dance on that police car. That's what I saw. Like, I sympathize more
I
with
agree
him
with that.
with the payoff.
Like that elevation, like during that scene when he stands up on top of the car, and like his character, it's symbolic of him being elevated within society, you know, and like that aspect of it, you're somewhat rooting for him, you know, like the whole movie is conflicting, and I think that's
Yeah.
part of the reason it was uncomfortable to watch, but like I want to see it again, you know, because it it kept you engaged, but the whole movie is conflicting because you're trying to decide who you're rooting for, and at the end of the day, I think it just shows that whether you're on the bottom of society, the top of society, in the middle, wherever, people can just be crummy people, and I think that's what the movie shows.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't. There was a lot of themes in the movie when I was watching it. I think the biggest one was just. I mean, it kind of has to be when you're dealing with the Joker, but it's just like craziness, just chaos, like nihilism. I always see that as a theme whenever I'm watching something that's good, that's by the Joker.
Yeah, definitely. Although you see within his character, as he starts committing these crimes, and as he starts, he gains a bit of confidence each time, I would say,
Yeah,
and you start to see within the character he starts to find purpose. Like compared to the beginning of the movie, towards the end, after he's done all this stuff, by the end he has more of a sense of purpose than he ever did at the beginning.
that's
Um,
that's the thing. Yeah, he's also, if you notice, he's more known as you progress in the movie
right.
until he's basically known by like everybody.
Right. I mean, there was a whole lot of like different things at play, and like the character, just Arthur Fleck in general is such a deep character, and there's so many things we could talk about. But there's also a lot of political things we can talk about in this movie. So I think Jay had some stuff he was going to say about that, and then we can kind of discuss it. So, what were some of the political themes you saw in this movie, Jay?
Well, I wanted to start it off by saying that this movie has received a lot of interesting press, of course, as everyone's aware of. People saying that it's kind of like I saw one article calling it white terrorism. I mean, there's been multiple articles saying that this guy is a symbol for incels, which is a little bit absurd. And you sort of see the people on both sides. Like I saw articles on right wing websites saying that this was like that the Joker was a leftist, you know, that this is like supposed to push the left narrative. There's the kill the rich thing. Which brings me to my big takeaway from the movie, the reason that I enjoyed it so much, and the reason I think it's so important, as I alluded to earlier. I love the way that it clashes our current political system. It just slams the two worlds together in this absurd way. You have people dressed as clowns rushing this marble building similar to the White House, which houses inside a bunch of old white men who are all watching this Charlie Chaplin movie from ages ago. I really thought that was interesting, the way it just blew everything up, you know?
And how did that particular scene like blow everything up? Like,
Well, because they're dressed like clowns. And so they're holding signs like Wayne is a fascist and thing like that. It's just their gross stereotypes of what of what each side would be, you know?
right? Yeah, I mean that's what I was kind of. That was my takeaway. Like when I left the movie, again, it it just it shows that there can be horrible people on both sides, and that's the reason it slashes through both political agendas because and the day and age we're living in, it's I'm right and you're wrong, and I'm always going to be right. And this movie shows no, the majority of all of us are wrong, and that's why I think, unfortunately, received a
Hey,
lot of criticism.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah, my point exactly. But unfortunately, it received a lot of criticism, and I feel like it was just for all the wrong reasons. And then there was the
Well,
ethical
everybody's trying to
criticism.
put their bias on it, their own spin on it. Like this, how does
Right,
this, how can I push my views through this? Is this a pro incel film? Is this a
right,
pro leftist narrative that we're watching here? But none of it works because you have these two gross, over dramatized stereotypes being smashed together. And it just destroys everything.
yeah. No, I agree. Preach it, brother. No, because unfortunately nowadays, because I'm somebody who loves movies, like I love film, and not just for entertainment, just to study them, and I like the art behind it. But unfortunately nowadays, most movies have some type of political agenda, and I don't think you saw that at all with this one. And that's another reason why I really
It's
liked it.
very
And
anti-political.
yeah, and that's a reason why a lot of critics did not like it. And then outside of like your movie critics, you also have like your bloggers who are like talking about how this is an unethical movie.
Right.
Um,
It's no
you
more
know,
violent than like It Chapter 2, I'm sure. I
uh,
mean, that's probably far more violent and disturbing.
But it's the purpose of the violence.
yeah,
What do you
and
mean?
oh, that's what I was gonna say. It's
Like,
interesting though that they're complaining about
It's
how
like
this
to
is
advance.
unethical.
You're saying if somebody watched that film and they, for example, had this bias going in, they would see the violence as a means to advance the other side. Like the other side is encroaching on them because the violence is. It's like um, when he shoots those guys in the subway. That's a really interesting one because I don't see how you could have a problem with that.
I don't think anyone. Well, you don't until he goes a little overboard and just unloads his mag into that guy on the stairs, and it's like,
Yeah, he
okay,
hunts the guy down.
yeah, you know. The
Well,
first two
that's
you could argue self-defense.
That's
but
why
then that
I
one's
could see a
brutal.
lot of. That's what probably why you're seeing a lot of people on the right side of the political aisle upset
right.
because
That's what I was gonna
yeah,
say
you
because
have him kill these two elite guys, and then he hunts down the third one and empties a clip into him, and then you have these newspaper headlines: "Kill the rich." You know, it's very anti-establishment.
But I think that's what makes this movie so in the entire spirit of the Joker because everyone's trying to put all their things on him. Even in the movie, they're trying to say, he's against the rich, he's this, and he flat out says, "I'm not political. Like I
Well,
just kill people."
yeah, and that story goes all the way back to Greece, the with the archetypal jester, and he's always pointing at something and laughing, and he's kind of exposing what's going on, and I think that, and they often say that the jester is the precursor to the savior because he points at the problem and laughs at it, and then somebody comes along and fixes it.
And in the comic books, that's actually typically Batman slash Bruce Wayne. What he
Right.
does is he beats up the criminals, but he's also using his wealth to reform Gotham, in which is a lesser
Maybe
known
Batman's
thing.
coming.
Yeah, well, his parents are killed in the movie, so
No, I mean in real life.
well, I don't think that we have what's
No,
happening
not
in the Joker.
literally. Come on. Yeah, Donald Trump is Batman, dude, and like Hillary Clinton was the Joker, man. And that's like the world.
And we need to run for our lives because we're doomed. That's what that would mean.
Oh man.
Going back to that train scene, though, that was like a really pivotal scene in the movie, just because when he's on the ground and he shoots the guys initially, you see fear in his eyes, and by the end, when he's just unloading on the dude on the stairs, you see again like this newly gained confidence, and then that's what I think the dancing somewhat symbolizes when he goes to the bathroom, and there's the whole scene where he's just dancing, which is a very like there's a lot of nuances in that scene, and it was interesting because that wasn't written into the script. I believe he was supposed to just like look at himself in the mirror or something, but Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips both said, this isn't the Joker. Like, what could we do here to make it a little different? And Joaquin just started dancing, and they put together that scene. But it's symbolic of him gaining this sort of confidence, and in public, because you see him kind of act that way in his apartment, but now he's in a public space, and the Joker is also a very theatrical character, and you that starts to take place, and again, the dancing scene is a key.
Yeah.
That was a great scene, and I do remember hearing in an interview that Todd Phillips wanted the Joker to have music playing within his soul or something like that, and that is an incredibly awesome idea for that character. It just fits the Joker so well. Like he just hears music,
Yeah.
Well, it takes away rationality. And it doesn't, there's nothing that's like linear. It's just sound.
Sure.
Changing.
I mean, it's like he's just kind of hallucinating maybe or something. It's like, what is he dancing to, really?
And he makes it, that scene is crazy too, because he makes it seem as if he hears the music too, but the music is really just inside of him, and
Right.
Killing those people is what brings it out.
Yeah, that was an incredible creative idea. I really admired that.
It's
After
just in
that
the
scene
spirit of the
was
Joker.
Yeah.
that's when the movie really took off, after that scene.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about the whole, because we talk about the political stuff, and I mean, we all kind of agree.
I still have a
with,
few
like,
more things to talk about when it comes
Oh,
to that.
well, be my guest, Jay.
What do you guys think of the talk show scene? Do you think that has any political significance?
Like the scene where he shoots the talk show host.
Right.
I think regardless, it's hilarious. Not that he kills
well, yeah,
the guy,
but why?
but when he
I think that
when he
has-
walks up and he kisses that woman on the
Yeah,
lips, and
that's
her
incredible.
her face for the rest of
that was
scene,
taken from King of Comedy, but
I don't know. I've never seen either movie, but her face from the rest of that scene is just so uncomfortable.
it's hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah. To add on to that point, like that again, like towards the end is when you start to see him developing into like the Joker we all know.
Well, yeah,
I
and
think
his
that was a reflection of
voice
that.
changes as the monologue goes on in that scene. And
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
I think that's Sorry. In terms of politics though and stuff, I think that you could. It wasn't as obvious in this particular scene, but I think you could swing it as like him killing the talk show host and like just disrespecting that woman by kissing her like that is symbolic of him really sticking it to the mainstream media and a sort of sense
he completely
killing the mainstream media.
he made the okay. Talk shows are supposed to be as comfortable and safe as possible, and the Joker
Right.
controlled everything in that scene, and that's why it was extremely uncomfortable. But what is the difference between this fictional talk show and the ones that we watch in real life?
Not much.
They pat
Not
you down,
much.
probably.
I mean, but there's not really much there, you know. It's kind of this safe environment. But what'd you say? I didn't even.
I said they pat you down, probably. 'Cause,
Yeah,
he's
they
just
probably
walking-
do, but,
just
you know.
walk in with a gun.
They probably wouldn't have a guy like that on the show in real life. Who's insane. But anyways, dang it.
Sorry.
I hate you.
No, but you were saying
No.
they're not that much far off from our.
Yeah,
you're
it's not that far off. And what was I saying? Danny DeVito's character, something.
Danny DeVito.
No, not Danny DeVito.
Robert.
Robert De Niro. Oh,
Oh no.
Ouch.
that's staying in.
Yeah, we might have to. That'll cut the flow. if
Whatever.
we
They're
take it out.
they're kind of the same. I mean, aren't they both like short or something?
They're Italian.
Yeah, they're both
Yeah.
I'm
Italian.
in.
So.
They're both.
What?
All right, cut that out.
I didn't mean.
Cut that out.
And there's a little bit of
Hey, man,
the
I'm
Joker in all of us, folks.
Anyways, what were you saying?
What was I saying? Oh.
Yeah, sticking it. Or
No, I remember where I was. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sticking
I remember where
Where
I
are we
was.
sticking it, Austin?
Yeah.
to them.
Enough.
Sorry.
Anyways, I was thinking about how political ideas get injected into current talk shows. Have you guys noticed that?
It's
Yeah,
all
it-
political and talk.
There's
shows.
so much, or late shows, I
yeah,
guess.
like
I
the
don't know
late-
why we're calling it a talk show. Call
Well,
it a
there's
late
some-
show.
The
There's
late
some
night shows, yeah.
daily talk shows, but the movie represented a late night show.
Right.
so-
They're all political. They're not anything but political.
They all vary in a degree, though. I
Yeah.
will say, like there's some of them that don't get.
Stephen
like,
Colbert is like almost all the way political.
Yeah,
And then
his
at
is
the
just-
at the
just
bottom you
about
have
unwatchable.
you have guys like Conan or whatever, which there's little
And he
subtle
could get-
hints. There'll be like a Trump joke in there or two, you know. it's not
Ellen,
too bad.
the Ellen show doesn't get too political.
Well, you know, she
And-
sat with George Bush, so
Yeah,
actually that's wrong.
Jimmy Kimmel gets pretty political, but anyways, yeah, we get the point. I don't know why I'm still going on.
But what was your point?
Well, I just think it's yeah. I think this kind of lets us see through what these shows
This guy
are.
is awesome.
Like
I literally said, so we get the point, and then right after that, he said, "So what's
and then
the
I'm
point?"
just sitting there, and I'm like, so yeah, well, how can I rephrase this? Well, anyways,
I just forgot the point because Jordan kept going on and on about describing all the talk show hosts and their varying
sorry.
degrees of politics.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the Joker is an apolitical character. He kills the talk show host. And what I was saying was there isn't much difference between the guy in the movie and what you see when you actually watch a talk show. Have you guys seen Jimmy Kimmel or is it Jimmy Fallon and Joaquin Phoenix? They're all the same. But have you seen...
Like awkward?
It was horribly awkward.
Was it awkward?
He sat down with Joaquin Phoenix, and it was like the worst thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Is it when
because
they showed the video of the of him on set?
was it? I don't
The-
remember seeing. There was like a deleted scene maybe at the end.
Why was it awkward, Jay? I haven't seen it.
He was not responding well to anything that the host was saying, which is why it got me thinking more about how the character in the movie acts for the talk show host and how the talk show host is in real life. And I thought it would be even more interesting to introduce the political element to that.
Wait, why did he do that though? Because he's been on talk shows before.
No,
Well,
I
I was
know.
gonna
I have
say,
no idea why he was acting.
He was
like
on
that.
Jimmy. Maybe they took it off. He was on Jimmy Fallon, and I thought he was fine. But then he went on Jimmy Kimmel, and on Jimmy Kimmel's show, without telling him, they put up a clip of the. It was a video from the set, like while they were filming a scene in The Joker, and he's trying to figure out like how to act out a certain scene, and someone is making a noise in the background, and he just starts swearing, like swearing at the person, like telling them to stop, essentially. And I didn't think it was like terrible because you could tell he was just like trying to focus, like if you're trying to study and somebody's like making noise and you impatiently tell them to stop. But anyways, they didn't tell him they were showing that, and it got extremely awkward after they showed that. And you could even tell Jimmy Kimmel, like, it looked like he regretted showing
Okay,
that
that's
as well.
what that was then. Because I was like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, there was no. Why the heck would, as a talk show host, would you show that? I mean, this is a tangent, but why would you show that? Because this guy is
not to mention the
on
fact
your
that he
show
has
just
1,000 people deciding what
he's
gets
not
shown.
He's not showing it. Yeah, it's the producers.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a
I
pawn.
think he has a say.
Yes, let's continue the political sentiments.
But no,
he is a pawn.
Here's another thing that I don't think you guys realize because you don't know as much about Batman as I do.
Oh no!
The
Joker laugh came out.
The Joker.
Yeah.
In The Dark Knight Returns, it's a comic book series and also an animated film. The Joker. Batman retires and then he becomes Batman again because there's a problem. The Joker is like in a vegetative state after Batman retires because he has like no purpose. And then Batman comes back and he hears Batman and he like wakes. He like comes to again. And they have him on a talk show because I think he acts like he's reformed, like he's changed. And he is on the talk show, and he kills the talk show host on live television and everybody in the studio. So that was also largely, I think, taken from The Dark Knight Returns, that scene. Because he breaks a coffee mug and then slashes the dude's throat. It's like brutal.
Yeah, well, do you guys think that there was a political angle to him killing the talk show host?
I think it was just to take a jab at the mainstream media.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there was as much there as there
What do you
is
think,
in other parts of the
did
movie.
he actually have a motive? Or are you saying the movie's
I'm saying the
thematic
movie,
motive?
what the movie is saying,
Okay.
like what the
Yeah,
actual movie says.
I think that's what the movie is portraying. I don't think they did it on purpose, but I think but that's what you end up.
I
taking
think it
on.
was just chaos.
Because like he plans
what
on killing himself live
Yeah.
on TV. That's again why I say he flies by the seat of his pants, because suddenly he gains his confidence and he decides to shoot the talk show host. And in one of the comics, actually, I forget which one it is, but the Joker it goes on like a talk show like that and gasses the crowd and
That's
like kills
The Dark
everybody.
Knight Returns. He slashes the dude's throat and then he gasses the crowd.
There we go. So I think that it took a little inspiration from that.
I think
In terms of that scene. Did
here's
you say all of that, Austin? Did you mention all of that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I did.
No, I wasn't paying attention.
Oh no!
Oh man, you just glaze over right when I start talking about the comics.
Oh man!
But
Does it hurt?
Here's the thing. I think too, though, that I do think that a lot of it was just chaos. The thing that I think was missing that would have made it better in a movie sense, not like better for me or something, like the way I feel, is if he laughed after that. Like, he didn't really laugh when he did bad things.
There
He
was
only-
one camera that was showing what happened after they cut away, because they cut away like right after it happens, don't they?
Yeah, there was like one camera still showing it, and he walks up to it, and he starts to say like, and then it like,
Yeah,
cuts out
and he's like saying,
comedically.
"And that's all, folks."
and it's like comedic too.
Yeah.
I wish he laughed more when he did the bad things, because that would make him
Ugh,
more
it's
villainous.
just so. Yeah.
Well, at the end, though, he starts laughing during that interview.
Yes, and I think that was pretty. Like
That's
made me
when
like disturbed.
when I watched that, I was like, okay, he's kind of he's the character now.
Yeah,
That's what I was
the way it
saying. Like he
feels.
fully embodies the character
I think
at
it
the
just
very
it just
end of the movie.
he gets glimpses of it throughout the movie, but when he's on the talk show, it's like boom, he's there.
Well, he's
And
never coming
his
back. Yeah.
mannerisms, the way he speaks, it's all different. From like the middle of, I'm telling you, from the middle of his monologue, it just switches over. It's like, and he starts speaking more flamboyantly, starts like turning his head and stuff. It's fascinating.
I wish he would have laughed.
Yeah.
He may have laughed it sarcastically, but really like started like.
Maybe
you know
they
what I mean?
thought that was a bit much. I don't know.
I think it would have been
Austin
cool.
really
if he just,
wanted that laugh.
I know.
Yeah, he's
That's
been
like
saying
that's
that.
his character.
Yeah, I know.
Like it would have represented that.
And that's why, I mean, there's 4 different laughs that Joaquin uses throughout the movie.
I know, but they all. I mean, they. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. To get to like the, I guess there, because we keep talking positively about this, and I guess there were a few things that I didn't like, just minor things in the movie, but I feel like we could bring those
The
up
laugh
too.
is something that I didn't like. I wanted it to be used.
Really? See, I feel
No, I
like-
wanted it used more. Like I said
Oh,
with the talk
okay.
show.
Okay, yeah. Well, they set up the laugh as like a sort of medical condition, so it's almost like
Yeah, he could have
Um,
made it his own. That's what I'm saying. When he turns into the Joker, he makes the laugh a part of him instead of this thing that plagues him.
oh, okay, I see what.
That's
yeah,
what
that
I was
would've been-
hoping would happen.
That
kinda-
is kind of
that-
what happened.
It happened at the very end, but I
very,
was hoping
very
it was
end.
during that talk show because he really becomes the Joker when I think more when he's dancing and when he's in the asylum than he is when he shoots the guy. That's like the step off the cliff. There's no coming back because he just did that on live television. But then when he's dancing, that's when he's. I don't know. That's what I see.
He took
Yeah.
a lot of head trauma in this movie. He's hitting his head a lot.
Yeah, in the nose and.
Got in the car accident, slamming around.
Big
Dude, that
Bill.
melon's got to be pretty sore.
Well, especially from all the head trauma when he was a kid too. I think it's.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, to go back to the negatives though, there was 2 scenes in particular. The first being when he goes and visits Bruce Wayne. I just thought that was a little odd.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. It was the stupid magic tricks and stuff. I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
it
come
wasn't
on.
terrible, but it was. It was.
It was
just
like,
kinda
okay, we have
why
to make
is
sure this
in
is
here?
still a Batman movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And then when he's dancing on the stairs in his suit towards the end, the song playing in the background. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like Stadium
terrible.
Rock.
Yeah, I
Like,
wanted a
what?
different song.
Deal, deal, deal. Deal.
Dunno.
Deal. Yeah, that didn't fit the
I
song
wanted
at
to
all.
cheer. I was like, what the heck?
Hang on, Sloopy. Sloopy, hang on.
They might
That's
as well
what he
have
did.
played that one.
That's
I thought
what it
you were-
felt. That
I
is
thought
what
you
it felt
were
like.
going insane. I was like, whoa.
That's what it felt like, cause it's like they just could play a random rock song. Like I wanted something like more. I don't know. Like
Now, if they played a
crazy.
Queen song, that might have worked.
Another one
You
bites
got
the dust.
mud on your face, you big disgrace, throwing your
No,
something
because
all over the place.
it was never cool. It was never.
I
like
thought
a
they should have
cool
played the
thing.
bathroom, the song
Yeah.
they used in the bathroom scene.
That's what I
but-
was thinking. Something that sounds crazy.
But yeah, And
Yeah.
but you'd have to have them
But-
dance differently, or else it wouldn't fit.
No, and they should have added they should have added.
Oh yeah,
a
the
little
hip thrusting was a
song.
bit much as well.
Yes, I agree. One too
That was
many
my
hip
favorite
thrusts.
Um,
Of course.
but yeah, overall, I didn't think there was like a ton wrong with the movie, except going back to something I brought up earlier. There was a lot of people talking about how this movie is unethical and stuff, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on that as well, because that was like initially that was the complaint I was seeing, was that, oh, this is too much, it's gonna inspire people to do things. This shouldn't be shown on screen, which is interesting because literally a month ago we have a horror movie about a clown that comes out, and now we have the Joker, and suddenly this is unethical. So I was just curious what your thoughts were on that.
So,
Well, that's because of the. I don't. Are you laughing because of the train?
there's a train in the background, and we're both just like glued to the screen, seeing if the levels are gonna pick it up. I think we're good. I don't know.
I think we're fine.
That's
Austin just
Ohio
was
for
like,
you.
if you guys
scooted way up to the screen.
if you guys hear a train,
How
sorry.
bizarre!
That's all. That's all I can say is sorry. Here's the thing: the reason why everyone cares is because of what happened at The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, and also the character himself. You know, he's
Yes,
like a
he's an anarchist.
white male. Polarizing terms in this day and age. Yeah, I think you
I
might
don't
be able to
think it
hear
picked it
that.
up.
Are
Maybe.
you sure?
I don't know. Just keep talking.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Anyways.
Dude, I could hear that. I
yeah.
couldn't hear it before,
Told
but I
you.
just heard it.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Shut up, train.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. See.
But anyways, oh man,
Whoa.
It's
It's
late.
getting louder.
well
Holy
yeah,
crap.
it's gonna. I mean,
What?
isn't it? Aren't we like less than a mile from the tracks?
Yeah, we're pretty close.
that makes perfect sense, man.
Wait,
Alright.
is your house?
It's getting louder.
Tracks?
My goodness, it's coming right at the door. Crap. What was it? Oh yeah, about the violence in the movie or whatever.
You said the character himself.
Oh yeah, he's a white male, and being a white male in this day and age, especially a white male that just kind of has a horrible life going for him, a lot of people just don't like that innately.
An unprivileged white
yeah,
male.
and the
you
fact
might
that he
call him?
lives with his mother, the fact that he, is the social outcast, can't get a girlfriend, a lot of people are like, this is gonna make, we have this subset of men who are just alone, and they're gonna watch this, and they're gonna be like, I have to kill people on the subway. Of course that hasn't happened, because the world isn't that simple. It's not like you could just make that you're just gonna have a bunch of empowered incels, after making this movie.
Thankfully.
It's not really an incel movie either.
No, it has not. It has more to do.
I mean, he kills the girl, obviously, that he's like fantasizing at.
Well, it's not that he. I don't even think though that it's about him.
It's not really about that, no.
Yeah, it's he hallucinated. It's more about mental illness than it is incels.
Right. Yeah, I find that would be a very hard argument to make, to say that that has incel tendencies,
Yeah, because he's more of just got like antisocial personality disorder and other stuff. Like, he's just crazy. Like,
Yeah.
are all incels crazy that hallucinate that they have girlfriends? And
That's
then,
the other thing.
like
It's like,
you have to make a
well,
bunch of assumptions.
if a person does have schizophrenia and they're an incel, then they should probably get help,
And the hallucinations come after he gets off of his medication too. That's
Which-
important to remember.
Right.
Well, maybe. Some people might say that he was kind of hallucinating at the
He's
very
more
beginning
aware of it, though.
when he was on the talk show.
He's aware
The-
of it.
Remember the
Oh,
first time
yeah,
though?
that's true.
They might
That's
say
true.
that was a hallucination.
So
I thought that was more of a daydream, but
I felt like that too, but I think people are saying that he hallucinated.
Oh, that was weird. He was like sort of acting like. It was kind of similar to the way he was acting at the end on the talk show.
Except for the whole murdering.
Yeah,
No,
the
it-
way he talks
see-
and stuff.
that
It's like-
scene is important though because it shows like what he originally envisions himself being on the show like, and then versus what he actually is like when he gets on the show.
Yeah, he
'Cause-
slips up and says he murdered 3 people. Oopsie.
Yeah.
And then everything goes to poop. Oh, Andy tells
Well,
me
I don't
that
think
joke.
he slips up by saying that.
Yeah, he did. He was like, he didn't really want to say it at first, and then he kind of did, and then he kind of like, it seemed like he was happy about it. I killed them. And then he was like, wait, You really did kill them, didn't you? That was a terrible act, whatever that was, but
Yeah.
Danny DeVito.
1980s newscaster.
Robert De Niro. Get it right.
Yeah, just like Danny DeVito in The Joker.
But anyways, yeah, I didn't see a whole lot wrong with it. I liked that it was a lower budget Warner Bros. Film, so it like was grittier.
Yeah,
I
it was.
think-
Yeah, that's the other thing is that it. I'm really glad that we didn't get another stupid, retarded.
CGI crap.
Yeah,
The Joker has to
Dude,
fight space
we didn't have
aliens.
2 hours of just like watching a normal life for 2 hours and then a 30-minute fight scene that's incredible.
That's another thing too. Like part of the reception was kind of controversial, only because you had a ton of like Marvel superhero like hardcore fans going to see this that had never seen an artistic movie before, and they did not know what the heck was going on, and they didn't know what to do with it.
Are you seeing that that's because they're stupid?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would have
So
to agree.
you hear that, Marvel superhero movie fans? Those are the type of people
Go
that
b-
watch
yeah,
movies
you
simply
freaking
for entertainment,
idiots.
that just want to have some fun.
Go buy
They don't wanna
dolls
put
and
thought
play with your
into anything.
dolls like you all
Yeah.
do.
What, you gonna go be a baby now? You gonna go cry?
Yeah.
huh?
I just think that I wouldn't call this. I was talking to Win about this a few days ago. I don't think I would try. I would try my hardest to not classify this as a superhero movie, even though this is a superhero movie, because it's not like
It's
any
Taxi
superhero
Driver with a Joker skin. That's what it is. And then there's
Well,
also the
That was
talk
another
show stuff.
complaint, because some people were saying like you could have just called this movie The Clown and you didn't have to like make it the Joker.
I
you know,
like that.
you like how
well,
it's
the Joker.
or you
Not
wish
making
it
like
it the
was-
Joker. The
I
reason
like that it's just a good movie.
the reason it has to be the Joker is because that is a character that everybody will look at. You know, everybody
Right. Well, that
wants
was
to see the
strictly for
Joker,
money
no matter
purposes.
what
Yes.
context.
You don't have to market it. If you call it the Joker, people are gonna go watch it. You know.
He's
It
icon-
makes
he's
marketing a lot
iconic.
easier.
Yeah, he's
you know?
iconic.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: if you make even a average movie about the Joker, it'll be considered great because it's an iconic thing. The problem is the Warner Bros. And DC make terrible movies about their iconic superheroes, and so they're just
Yeah,
seen as,
it's so funny to see them go from the just absolute crap. What was it? Wonder Woman,
no Justice League.
Justice League.
was the
Wasn't it
worst.
terrible? That was the worst one. Wasn't Batman vs Superman worse?
I would
I
say
mean,
Justice
it's literally
League was
called
worse.
Batman vs Superman, and this movie made like billions of dollars.
Yeah,
Like,
and it was
yeah.
seen as like it was just abysmal.
What if the biggest ultimate guy battled the next biggest ultimate guy, and they just like fought each other, and like what would happen?
And then they united because they had their mother's names were the same, and then
Oh
they.
no!
That's what
Did
it is.
that happen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
that
choking
happened,
Superman
yeah.
out, and he says, and Superman says, Martha, and Batman's like, why did you say that name? And so he saves Superman's mom because her name was Martha, and his mom.
That's like a fan film.
Yeah.
Exactly. This
It
is
was
what we're
pretty
dealing with, Jay.
Oh.
This is what we're dealing with. That's why it's like,
Is that this movie where they CGI'd his mustache out?
yes, I think so.
Nice.
Well,
Because he wouldn't shave it, so he made them pay like millions
I think
of
that
dollars.
was Justice League. I can't
It,
remember.
it
It's one of
happened.
those, Yeah.
They CGI'd his mustache out for $50 million, and it looks weird.
It does.
Yeah, that's
His upper lip is not looking right.
that is hilarious, man.
So yeah.
But just for them to go from that to this is so shocking.
Well, go back.
And then look at Suicide Squad and the Joker in that. And that Joker was just the worst thing ever.
Go back though. You have the Dark Knight
Right.
trilogy, amazing movie series.
Yeah.
And then you have Garbage,
Right.
and now maybe we're on the up.
Hey. Small art house DC
Yeah.
superhero films.
Those are nice. Stick with those.
Yeah. Well, but anyways, the Joker was it was refreshing in terms of the superhero type movies. Just to have something a little more realistic and definitely more impactful.
Yeah.
Something where you can take a lot away from it after watching the movie. And what better platform to use than a story from the comic books? Because there's so many different archetypal characters in those, and a lot that you can learn from, in my opinion. So I give this movie an A. I think it was really good, and I think anybody that is complaining about it, most of the people have the wrong reasons for talking negatively about it, in my opinion. So that's just me.
All right, me. As far as what this movie adds to the conversation, this is incredible. This is very, very relevant. I'd say that the message overall portrayed on screen is incredible, but I'm gonna have to subtract some points because,
You don't know anything.
a lot of this stuff has been done before, folks. I mean,
Come
just
on,
saying.
man. It was still its own. It might take ideas.
We don't need to debate
Oh,
this.
yeah.
We don't need to debate this. As for me, the thing I like the best is that they did, in my opinion, they did the Joker service. They didn't do him a disservice. So they actually made a good movie, and it was about maybe the most popular character that isn't a superhero in comic books. They did a really good job.
That's interesting that you say that because I mean you are kind of a nerd, and
Yes.
you do like the comic books. A lot of
The
the people
finer
that
things.
see the that watch this movie would be like, "This guy's a loser idiot."
Well, that actually happened to us in the theater. We were sitting behind people, and what did that guy say?
Yeah, it's like he's laughing maniacally at the beginning of the film because he's insane, right? I mean, the movie's called Joker, and the guy behind me, I just hear him say, "This fool's a dang nutcase." That's all the guy said for the whole movie.
Come on.
Munching on his popcorn, man. Those people are so loud, dude.
Dumping his drink
Before
on
we
us.
before we stop this, what happened to decency? What the heck? I go to the movie theater and we moved once. We did move only once, but it just terrible people behind us both times. I had somebody just kicking my chair, and he would not shut up. So
Yeah,
we
dude.
moved, and then Win got a drink spilled on him, and a little bit got on Austin, and those people wouldn't shut up either. I was just happy to not have someone just slamming their foot into my seat.
Yeah, we had girls in front of us talking away on their phones. We had to tell them to be quiet. And then the lady next to me falls asleep and she's snoring as loud as can be, and somebody has to hit her leg to wake her up. I mean, come on. People spent years making this. They
Yeah.
poured their life into this movie, and you're going to go pay to watch it and just fall asleep.
So, the average person watching this movie, I'd like to think higher of them, but I don't have high expectations, I mean, the thing is that a lot of what we talked about works unconsciously on people, so, a lot of it still does get through. A lot of the symbolism and things like that. Yeah.
And on that note, tune in next time for the Coffee with Martha podcast.
And there's all a little bit of the Joker inside of us as we go on into the night, the dark night. Goodbye.
Ciao.
Dun, dun, dun.